experiences that I had growing up in Boulder, Colorado, left a very sour taste in my mouth around exclusion and elitism, which was also a pet peeve of my mother's, right? And so even when there were exceptional opportunities that I was able to take part in or to benefit from, the idea that somehow that made you better than other people was very, very, very distasteful to her. Welcome to Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast, an act of revolutionary defiance and a celebration of the things that bring us comfort, solace, and joy as we work to reclaim our humanity from the bloodied jowls of white supremacist capitalist patriarchy. I'm your co-host, Carlos Kareem Windham.
Theresa Logan. How's your nervous system doing today, Carlos?
Well, my nervous system's doing today pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. My resilience zone is relatively wide, and I think most of it just has to do with applying myself to routine and creation, and
breathable
doing
air
what I can
helps
do.
pretty significantly as well.
It does. I've been on walks. I've been outside. So both of those things help dramatically for those folks who are now coughing on and choking on our unbreathable air. Very sorry about that. Sorry. Hey,
you didn't personally send it somewhere.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was not. I didn't mean to.
It's
doesn't
almost
have anything
like
to.
we all share the same air, and
Yeah, maybe.
taking care of the quality of it impacts all of us.
I don't know. The president said that we can sue other states and countries if the air comes in and sneaks in, and we can tariff them. So I want to just, allegedly.
Yes, I had this conversation with my father, and he said that the smoke he's experiencing in Montana is all the fault of Canada, Oregon, and Washington and California for not managing their forests properly. And is like, I actually think we manage our forests a lot better than we used to.
That's
and
insane
also,
speak.
There's entire miles of fir forests on the Oregon coast that are dehydrated and dying for lack of water on the Oregon coast. It's not because the Forest Service didn't go out and water them. It's because of climate change, and there not being enough water.
It's also not because they didn't rake them.
But apparently those are the talking points by the fascist Nazis to convince everyone.
Oh, is that what it is now?
The talking point is that we don't manage the blue states don't manage their forests correctly, and that's why there's so many fires all over the world. That's why there's fires all over the world.
That's what it's been. The shitter in chief quite literally had suggested that, and this was last time around, that you could rake up the forests, and that would take care of it.
It's almost like people having ideas about things they don't actually understand at all. Like
it's almost like
or have any idea how much of the world they currently cover, which is a teeny tiny fraction of what they once used to cover.
How's your nervous system, Theresa?
My system's doing pretty good. The breathable air helps significantly when I can go outside and not choke. Like my throat was on fire to take my contacts out because it was so bad last week. So sending lots of love to people anywhere that are still dealing with smoky air, wherever that's happening in the world, and sending lots of love to Colombia as well for that earthquake they had yesterday.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Just working on what I can work on. We got some projects proposals going out. It'd be nice to have some real work again. Be able to pay our bills instead of going to bankruptcy court. So that's hopeful and helpful. And I don't know. Just enjoy my life. We got outside a little bit this weekend with my kids and we went paddleboarding on Sunday. We went to a concert in the park on Saturday. I was like, all right, community. Ran into people I knew at the concert in the park. I was like, I remember when this used to happen. Back in the days, the Lloyd Center closed down over the weekend, which for anyone not in the Portland area was our center of the city mall for the past 60 some years. I did not go to the closing, but apparently a lot more people went to see the mall close down than went for about the past 10 years, I think, combined. The place was packed in the pictures. But my point is, as a teenager, we would just go walk through there every day after school, see who we saw. In college. When I moved away and came back, you'd always run by the Lloyd Center, go grab a Christmas present or go look for something before Amazon and online shopping took everything over. And I would always see people I knew. I couldn't walk through that mall without running into people I knew. And it was a place of like, yeah, I'm from here. And I go places and I run into people I know. But I almost never have those experiences anymore, partly because so much has moved online. And partly there's just less of those community spaces. Like I did go to Lloyd Center once or twice, and I did not see anyone I knew there because it was empty. It was like 10 people in the whole mall.
Okay, so the community space is there. I would also suggest, as somebody whose childhood mall is gone as well, that there are not any more indoor malls because they don't work. They're the ones that
Clackamas
exist
Town Center and Washington Square are both still quite lively the last couple times
Is
I've
it?
been out
Okay.
there. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I know that as a trend across the country, that is true, but they're not completely extinct.
No. They're just going extinct. It's like pterodactyls.
But I don't run into people out at those ones in the suburbs who I used to run into people this one here because I wasn't from the suburbs. If you're from there, maybe you do. I don't know. But it was nice to just be out in the world and interact with people. And we went paddleboarding on the lake the other day. And the kids whined a lot more than I expected. Well, because they had wanted to get out of the house too, but then we did have a good time once we got there. So as a win, I'll take it.
Good.
All right. Stuff. Well, we talked about me in our Know Your Host segment episode last week. So I think it's your turn this week. But you got to play the theme song for us.
What is it?
It's you singing Know Your Host, I believe.
No. I'm being interviewed. I don't have to sing it. This is your song. Go for it. 3, 2, 1.
No, you sang it last time.
Here we go. Well, I was waiting for questions.
I thought sing the song, no?
Okay. Well, here I am. I'm your other host. Get to know me.
Welcome, Carlos Kareem Windham. So glad to have you here as our co-host on Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast. Thank you for creating that name. That's extra long for no particular reason. We'd love to get to know you today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what all you do in your multi-hyphenate career of public offerings and engagements?
Well, I am a co-founder of Strategy and Solidarity, the platform from whence this podcast and the experience evolved. that is an endeavor that has of late, I think, widened focus, and in doing so has of late invited in a wider array of both voices and experiences of folks who are deeply rooted in um, moving away from um, political binary arguments, and away from fascism and toward places of self actualization, right? And liberation, whatever that happens to mean for them. Also, I am a writer and comedian, and I produce a show with my dear friend Dahlia Bell at Covert Comedy Cafe. It's not Covert Comedy Cafe. It's Covert Cafe. It's Covert Comedy Cafe when we're there, because that's just what's going to happen. Along with our two co-hosts, Angelique Harrington and Amanda Lynn Deal. And that happens the second Saturday of every month. And in 4
Portland, Oregon.
years, in Portland, Oregon, it is the show is called The Fucks of Life. And in 4 years, we have not missed a show so far, which is stunning considering how many of us are on tour someplace or the next. So it's been great. It's been a way to build community. Say it again.
Benefits of a team project.
Which was the plan and the purpose. Yes, we were like, okay, but if there are, because Dahlia and I had done some projects before where it's the two of us, which ends up being the one or the other of us. And if not, then we have to find subs. And this really does facilitate a way for us to have a monthly together where our many other commitments do not cross intersect. And parenting, I have a beautiful, beautiful, and very devastatingly brilliant child.
About to be a senior in high school?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. It's a strange feeling. But I'm very excited for her. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be monumental.
No, did I hear that you once had an alter ego that was a rock star? That was Jem.
That was I don't.
Miley Ray Cyrus
had
who looked like you.
Didn't Miley Ray Cyrus have a second character or something? Who was that? Hillary Duffel.
Hannah Montana.
One of your peers.
That's from a generation younger than me.
That's younger than you.
The Holograms generation.
Okay,
Hannah Montana was like the younger, true millennial generation.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, no, there weren't.
My kids watched Hannah Montana on reruns or Disney Channel or whatever it was, Netflix. Probably.
There were not secret rock stars when were there?
Yeah, Jem and the Holograms from the 80s.
Well, no, but that's 10 years younger than me, so I'm trying to think of like
Superman. I mean, there were alter egos.
There were alter egos.
World.
Anyway, yes, I worked under an nom de plume for many years. I was.
We really pulled MC. That random comment out as far as we could.
Yeah, truly. Thank you for going on that walk with me. It was well worth it. The name Brother Los was the name, very much like my Instagram handle, very locked into gender specificity that, as I reflect on it, is not very useful for me. But yeah, I had a group company of prophets along with Rashidi Omari and DJ Treachy Nice, who is Dominic Vieda, who lives in the Bay and is doing sign painting these days. You should also does wonderful, wonderful custom. There we go, work. So you should look them up as well. But yeah, we were together for like 15 years. Put out 2 albums. One was very good. One was very experimental and very ambitious. I toured for a while with pianist from Cuba, jazz pianist Omar Sosa. The year after he was nominated for a Latin Grammy, and so it meant a lot of touring all over the world. And before that, I had toured with. I started touring when I was like 15. I don't. I'm not. I'm a long term renter. I beyond that do not enjoy moss growing under my feet.
And what, for you, what is the through line from all these different variations of careers that you've had over the years? What's the through line that motivates you to do what you do in the various formats and for the various audiences that you work with?
Um, ADHD, I I would say, is the through line. The experiences that I had growing up in Boulder, Colorado, left a very sour taste in my mouth around exclusion and elitism, which was also a pet peeve of my mother's, right? And so even when there were exceptional opportunities that I was able to take part in or to benefit from, the idea that somehow that made you better than other people was very, very, very distasteful to her. Um, and as a more general, though equal, well, and for my father, that showed up as well in the ways that a generation of men who were emotionally repressed were able to tap into, right? So if, according to some rules and standards and or debate that had been won, that an injustice was being carried out, that ought be addressed, right? But it wasn't just like, if it's in the air and it's unjust and it's structural and systemic, then it's bad. It was much more intellectual exercise. And the performing really didn't come from performing. I mean, my family always had like gatherings, right? You talked about social gatherings, and my parents' home was the one that grad students and a bit younger would have their dance parties and their record parties. And I was at that time about like between 3 and 5 years old. So I grew up in that environment. They would do like backyard talent shows and whatever they could afford, right? And um they could provide food, right? And they could provide some drinks and then it was something to do on the weekends. And so folks would come over, they'd lip sync and they would, do whatever, dress up. It was very cute, very fun. And because I was already cognizant, it kind of became um normal to me, the idea that, okay, oh hey, okay, there's people here, let me push the couches together and do a little performance for you, give you a little something. And that started very young enough that by the time I was about 6, I'm sure that it was a lot as the for the adults in the room, as I would do an entire album by myself and insist
What
that,
album?
oh, Off the Wall was definitely a favorite for me.
Were you singing? Were you dancing to the record? What was happening?
Yes,
You were singing and dancing along with the record or a cappella?
along with the record,
Did you
cover to
pull your
cover.
siblings into this performance or was it just purely you?
Absolutely not. No,
No, you
they
needed
would
to be the
no,
only
no,
center of attention. Why do these younger
no.
children even exist?
Well, more. If you're not going to do it right, this is not the production for you.
Okay.
There was a production for them, which also turned into a disaster because they were not willing to do it right. And I, from very young, had very clear ideas in my head about how I wanted these endeavors to be exhibited to people.
This is
And
where they talk about injustice sensitivity that isn't just about like being upset by horrors in the world, but like you not following the rule is destroying my life. Which is what it sounds like you were working through as a young person.
I would like to say that I was just a perfectionist.
Yeah.
At the time in the 70s, it was called eccentric. And because I was always a bit artsy and come from a bit of an artsy family, though, for the most part,
Did your father have a camcorder? And is there any video evidence
no,
of any of these
no,
childhood performances? No?
no, no.
That's a shame.
I think there's a photo that I was forced to pose for one time. And the photo of me, the Christmas photo of receiving the Thriller album, I was very excited. But past that, no, no. Um, yeah, it was
And your
odd.
parents were supportive or tolerant of your diva-ness at a very young age, it sounds like. Sounds like you were born a diva and they didn't
Yeah,
really have a choice, but how did they cope with that?
well, um, you know, for the 70s and 80s, I would say remarkably well. I am the age of a say, let's say, a middle schooler in a John Hughes film. That would be during that time would be the appropriate age that I was. So, or the comparable age that I was, and so given the entirety of the surroundings, right? Like we didn't have the internet, but we did have cable. Our folks had a lot more exposure to the rest of the country, whether they wanted it or not. It was brought into the home. The lens of experience certainly was wider. And I don't know that they understood. No, I know that they did not understand what was happening in terms of the entire spectrums of gender and of mind that upon which I roost. So they didn't have explanation. They knew I was smart. Because I went to a small private school for a very short period of time. And then by the third grade, had to go to public school for the first time. And but then I suddenly was real bad at school. And that didn't really fix. Well, until about my sophomore year of college, maybe my junior year. And Again, it had to do with restrictions and injustice and unjust rules and unfair rules that were ruining my life.
And probably not giving you space to create and explore and experiment and innovate as is what you naturally were inclined to doing, and a Montessori school probably made more space for.
Yeah, yeah, and it
A,
wasn't even quite Montessori. It was like it wasn't quite uh 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 what's the other one called?
Waldorf,
Rudolph, Rolfoff, Waldorf.
Waldorf.
Yeah, not quite that. It was more like stoned hippies trying to land something that made sense and using those sorts of models. Boulder, Colorado, where I grew up, it is listen, I might have friends and associates who tried to get me involved with the Landmark Forum and ETS. I might have been somebody who had been scanned by the people of Scientology before. That might just be shit that goes on in Boulder, Colorado, especially in the 70s and 80s. And so the idea of there being a school that a Jewish couple just decided they were doing. And, we were doing maths, we were doing writing, we were doing cursive, I was doing calligraphy, sewing, I was looming. I dissected a cow's eye at a very young age, knew the stories of Shel Silverstein and the Little Prince.
I mean, the fact that you can remember these things, some nearly 45 years later, it's probably not
145 years later, yeah,
speaks to a very memorable educational experience. You must have learned a lot. Then it probably just was like a trauma cocktail. It's mostly a blur after that, I would imagine. Except you got one of those like photographic memories.
In terms of learning, very much a blur. Like that, there wasn't a lot of that going on. I mean, certainly a lot of trauma, but yeah, no. The only spaces that I found any kind of compatriot vibe was in the arts, right? And for me, it really did begin with drawing and painting because that was very solitary, which was perfect. Nobody else could fuck it up. Also very frustrating because nobody else could fuck it up. But that when it was there, right? My parents were very, very encouraging. My grandmother was a painter. My aunt was a painter, and so they were very encouraging. I was oil painting before I was 12, and that was just part of what was okay. And so the first time that really transferred was when I was sent to a summer arts camp. And they had tried to send me to theater school a couple of times because of the rambunctious behavior and circling up the furniture to make people watch, and that if I was home, I was watching entertainers. Period. Like that, I wanted to listen to music or I wanted to look at TV. I was like, or I wanted to do that. That was most of what I want, or go to a movie. I wanted to be, that world was my interest. I wanted performance. Uh,
So we've got a born artsy diva child growing
yeah,
up as a
making
black
the
multiracial
world
person
artsy.
in Boulder, Colorado in the 70s,
Very
surrounded by
white.
a lot of hippies and students with a
Yes.
strong predilection towards the arts. And
Yes. Oh, your sound just went out. What just happened
I
there?
accidentally hit the mute button. I said, and half your, because I was looking at your astrological chart, half your planets in Libra in the 10th house, which of course you needed to be the center of attention all the time. And where did all of this constellation of energies coalesce into activism and social justice work?
Public school. That was about it. That's
Trauma.
all I needed. Yeah. Just seeing how frighteningly dispassionate and disconnected these kids were in third grade, my peers, like just like it was some wild shit. Aside the bigotry and for them the uh having to face the reality of having people who were not white in their classrooms, right? Myself, a young Filipino girl, um, and my sister in one grade below. And their reactions and responses, of course, taught them by their homes and what have you, uh, which met my responses and reactions, which were, the basis of which you take no shit, you take no guff, protect your sister, watch out for your siblings. Very old school boy training that combined with being picked on and watching her picked on, it was a combination of trying to fight them physically uh, and with more success than necessary, and just you get in a lot of trouble. That's all that really happens. And wishing that I could change their brains, and not really doing like like I'm squishing your brain, but like literally sitting in class with my pencil, like pretending to erase the bigotry and bullshit in these white kids' brains and rewrite it so that there would be some space for acceptance, right? Which also made me more accepting of the weirder kids there, which also meant that as I went on to actual theater camps, like 2 years, 3 years later, that by that time it was really with outcasts that I was most comfortable, right? And in my generation, we were called at-risk kids, and so at-risk youth. I think they may have started saying youth by the time I was out of high school,
You had
and I
at
don't.
risk youth in Boulder, Colorado?
Oh boy, we had yep. We did. Evidently, I was one of them, and
Seems
yeah,
early. Thought that was more like a '90s term.
um, well, no, because I was out of high school by the '90s.
Underprivileged.
No, we were at risk youth. We were at risk youth. There were underprivileged youth as well. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there
What were
was
you at
not.
risk of?
Well, drugs mostly, fucking up,
Okay.
being young, you know, uh, they
Unlike
just
every other teenager out there,
right. Unlike all the very
you just didn't
successful
have
teenagers
parents who
snorting
could afford
Adderall.
to pay lawyers and
Hmm.
get you into good colleges anyway.
Yeah, or didn't have the predilection because they were told that tough parenting was appropriate, that Cosby parenting was appropriate. So yeah, it was that, and then combine that with like I was definitely more comfortable um as somebody who was hyperverbal and hyperliterate with adults and with older older kids and young teenagers. I was not that comfortable with my peers most of the time, and that meant that when my folks, along with those parties, because they were hanging out with the political group of what we would now call, I guess, woke students, they would return from
I think they used to just be known as students.
used to be known as students. We used to call them scholars, I think is what the word was. They would return from places like Cambodia. They would return from places like Ecuador,
With
and would
slideshows.
share slideshows in the living room and stories, right? And these same slideshows were part of what was happening at that elementary school, with a few of our teachers during their summers would go to Brazil or would go to India because it was something that was still, affordable on a working class salary at that time, and
Which was
would come
about the
back.
same amount of money as a working class salary now, I think.
I think the starting
I
salary
don't
is
think the wages
exactly
have
the
gone
same.
up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I think it. Yeah, I think as a starting teacher, you make about 30
But in,
grand,
but
which is
inflation,
about what you would make then.
which at that
Uh,
time you could provide for a family and take a vacation and buy a
yeah,
house on. But you certainly can't do any of those things on $30,000 now.
get a very nice apartment
Yeah.
and go on adventures, and
Tell me,
eventually invest and become the beer magnet of Colorado. Charlie Papazi, my then teacher, is the evidently the king of microbrew in Colorado, and I don't know all of what that means. I don't drink beer.
what did he teach you?
So much. Everything about Shel Silverstein. I was in the Einstein Club. I
This
learned
was
how
the
to play
good school.
chess.
This was a
This
hippie
was at the
school.
good school. Yeah, this was
Oh,
before
okay. Not a
before I
public
was at
school
public
teacher.
school. Oh no.
So tell me about the first successful organizing campaign you led.
Mm, I think the first large scale would have been at CU Boulder, um, and
Did you
that
help get vending
was.
machines out of your high school
Oh no,
to
yep, you're right.
because of South
Yep.
Africa?
See, you know
Make it
stories.
tell the story about that in a
You
couple
know
sentences. It
stories.
makes sense.
Okay. In high school, I learned that the Coca-Cola bottling company was being very, very heavily invested in by that company in South Africa. And that was during the time of their apartheid regime, working as strongly as ours is now, and not quite as grotesquely as Palestine's is currently. So the move was to try to divest and disinvest. We wanted divestment, which meant take your business out of that country and go back to where you came from in Atlanta and make your Coke. And they wanted disinvestment, which meant, well, we won't call it Coke. How about that? But we're going to do it. And we led the protest at the school against the company. And again, it was about like, you're not being fair. Like, that's not just. And so it was a friend of mine who was a senior at the time who really put the fire under our asses about it. Eric Havlick, and then he, myself, and my best friend of many, many years, Alex Campert, did a lot of research, read a lot of Nexus Lexus, and what fish, microfiche articles on the
Wow.
subject, and then
Old school library research. Had to like
oh yeah,
go to the library, find the
had to.
thing, put it in the
Yep,
machine.
yep. Get on the phone or yeah. I don't even remember how we were communicating with the students in Atlanta, but we found out more about it and led a campaign to get the school to get the Coca-Cola machines out of it. They were very displeased, but because they, it was money, right? Like that was part of how they were paying for the rich kids' basketball court and all the other things that were going on in the school. And it was successful. And so there was nothing but Pepsi in the school for the next 2 years. And then as soon as I graduated, I was a sophomore during the campaign. They got the Coke machines right back because fuck that, get us our money. They're all three gone. They're gone. Let's make this happen. So that was the first one.
And then in college.
In college, it was the fight for ethnic studies as a major and minor and PhD. That was my main focus in that campaign, and building a wide collaboration that extended to tenure for 3 professors, as well as those demands met. And yeah, it was in 92. And my classmates, my cohort, in a program that I was learning in called Invest, the International National Volunteer Service Training Program. Um, I was spurred on by somebody in an American Studies class that I used to walk out of quite a lot. And used to arrange heckling of the professor in different ways, trying to get them to address some concerns we had about the curriculum. And that was very unsuccessful. And so he had introduced the idea, this kid Ryan had introduced me to the idea of ethnic studies, had shown me a couple of examples of what that would look like. I put together some examples of what that would look like based on our curriculum. I presented that to the whole cohort, but part of the cohort as a you had to have a change project as part of your education, and so as part of that change project, a good number of friends of mine who were as dedicated to systems change were part of that movement. It was extended as well to Umasi Mecha, which I think is just UMass at most universities now, as well as BSA, the American Indian movement, um, the women's studies movement, up through the grad school by the time we had extended all of the demands. And it culminated in a hunger strike that lasted for 5 days. And all of the demands being agreed to. And it was, I think, maybe 10 years ago now, if not more, that all of the demands were met when the PhD program's first graduate, first doctor finally graduated.
I mean, it sounds to me like you were always a racial equity consultant, even before that was a thing that existed. But
Yeah.
the difference between an activist and a consultant is one gets paid and is offering solicited advice, and the other one does not get paid and is offering unsolicited demands.
I think that's
both,
very much true.
both with the goal of creating structural change to improve the lives of the most impacted.
Yeah. They called me a diversity. I had a job in the dorms. I got room and board for being a diversity counselor and working with the diversity team, living in the diversity dorm at the time. I'm sure it is not referred to as such any longer. That was Hallett Hall at the University of Colorado, which prior to that was an all women's dorm in the 70s, early 80s. And I know that because it is the dorm where my Aunt Marilyn stayed when she was at school with my Uncle Joseph.
Family connections.
Yeah, wild.
All right. Well, of all the many careers and paths you've gone down over the years, what are some of the accomplishments or projects you're most proud of?
Um, I think that I have some challenge still. Um, with the idea of being proud of or tacking off things as accomplishments, like as people tend to, right, as we're told to, right, because for me it really is experiences, and they're experiences that I get to be a part of. And while I might get the opportunity to help other people get involved through demonstrative action or speech or writing, or just possibility modeling, I don't know, like getting stuck in the idea of like, okay, well that's that, and like I don't know what is done yet, what's not done yet, you know what I mean, what's finished or what's not, to say that the
What have
project
been
is
some of
wrapped
the
up.
most meaningful experiences?
I've had tons. Yeah, I've had tons. I've gotten to work with and meet with just absolutely exceptional minds from around the globe who were in movements that shaped the world, right? I met some of the protesters from Tiananmen Square who survived the uprisings of the 90s. I met with refugees from Rwanda. I grew up alongside kids who had escaped Vietnam, Cambodia, Moscow during heightened United States aggressions against each of those countries. Um, I I had a foster brother, Unkweseli Jobodwana from South Africa, who taught me so much about nuance and nuance of thought in terms of politics, because I was so extreme and black and white, and it's got to be this way or
You.
that way, right? And
That's not a neurodivergent quality.
not at all. And he was just like, he would say just like, but Carlos, you got to think about the people's jobs, man. What are they supposed to do now? You say, okay, some kids get out of Brazil. Okay, they're out. Okay, now what? Now what do the people do? How do they eat? What are they supposed to do? Like, what do you mean? I don't know. Just get the bad guys out. Fix it. And it's like, yelling fix it out of youthful.
That is still how about 80% of our conversations go.
Yeah, I really wish people would fucking fix it. Like, listen to the autistics, let us run it. But
yes, yelling fix it is how it will be fixed.
Yeah, no, like if we're allowed to like look at our railroad systems and our justice system and our art projects and our infrastructure, and have people like myself just sat there going, "Hey, cut it out!" I think we'd be there. I think we'd have been there.
We will probably never know.
It's like the owl licking at the lollipop. Like, we'll just never find out. I don't know. 3. That's how many licks. That's how long I could wait. I don't know. I'm screaming at you now. You should have goddamn done it. Yeah, I don't know. That I think the
well, the frustration is real, and I think that frustration has motivated you to take a lot of actions where you did a lot more than just yell, fix it at people.
Well, for sure. And that's like that is the shadow, right? That's the devolution, and that's the basis from which, and the fear from which, and the unacceptance, right? And anger, that really has fueled a lot of what I've done in theater, in music, in justice work, in equity work, in human rights work, in community organizing, and in comedy, and in my writing, is because the injustices continue to be the exact same injustices. Add misogyny, add transphobia, add, much more openly these ideas to what Marvin Gaye was singing, and what's going on. And it's like, all right, come on. Baldwin was asking how long this is going to go on. Marvin Gaye was asking how long this is going to go on. These guys are dead. I'm gray. What's happening?
Du Bois.
It just, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. This was the basis of Tracy Chapman's entire fucking career. Like, what are we doing? Can we move on already? And for most artists, like, the idea of creating art and the stories that we tell and the things that people look at us and go, "You're being delusional, and that's a lie, and that's not the way it's got to," is because we can see the world and go, you know what? It could be a lot better if we would rearrange this, that, and this. And if we did that, it would be beautiful and nice and gorgeous and cute. And then, but also the ability to communicate those ideas in ways that are not alienating to humans aside ourselves, and not just start acting on other people's territory, art, whatever, or telling people what to do, is finding that balance, I think, is something that I've been working on for a very long time, is the shadow that I am now embracing and befriending and learning what, ways to incorporate the whole of myself without hopefully torturing and alienating other people because of the fears that are coming up for me. Um, and there are many. Watching you trying not to yawn is so great because it's the same face that Trump makes when he does it. And it not no
seems
no
like
no
a
not
personal
no yeah
attack.
I mean the same no not a racial attack. I'm sorry. It's
I
the
said
trying
personal,
not
not racial, but
not personal either. It's the trying to actively. We all do it. We all do it. We all have a face we do when we're doing it. And
I'm just tired. I'm not
I'm sure.
bored.
No, you bust your ass. I don't think it's anything to do with me. I just saw it.
So, how are you finding that balance for yourself in this time when
I
there
might cut that.
is
I won't cut
so
that.
much falling apart?
What balance?
Between shadow and clarity, and where you can be impactful and how you survive and all the things.
Honestly, it's very counterintuitive, and I'm not saying this with any pride at all. The more calamitous that the world becomes, the more meaningfully I'm able to, without alarm, meaning with more calm, with more clarity, relay tools for preservation, for grounding, for believing, for trying not to look down, for whatever it is that audiences receive in both engagements and facilitations, as well as from the time that I spend on stage or building community in that way. Because once the ephemeral wordsmithing and sharing, right, as such, is complete, the ideas and or feelings, well, the feelings that lead to pondering, that lead to ideas, that lead to action, are not within my control, right? I can't make things happen. I mean, it's possible for people to do that, and people have to actively choose to manipulate, to create you okay? Have a sip. Okay. No, I just want to make sure you're okay. I saw you. For people to be able to root into the ideas that they hold sacred and who they hold sacred, as opposed to and again, when I say sacred, I'm not saying that the ideas that God on high or Moses or anybody else delivered forth. I'm talking about the principles that for which you are willing to sacrifice your time, your effort, your energy, your ache, your chi, why you're doing that, what you're getting in exchange for that, is that a balanced exchange that works for the highest collective good, right? And if that is the ability to exhibit that, to do that, to live that, is something that through either creating a place to dance together in our frustration and needing to blow off steam, and being able to hear messages that reaffirm the fight, right? That whether it be through helping to uh, um, create questions and critical thinking spaces for students of whatever age who are trying to find new ways and have that same sandpaper itch on the inside about, hey, this is not the way things are supposed to be. How do we rearrange this into something that is? And to ultimately, be able to have a way to get all of the idea rabbits out of my goddamn yard, because there's far too many of them in there and I don't know where they keep coming from. And I'm trying to, like, if I say them and I share them, then maybe I'll clear them out and I can just rest a little.
And if people want to keep up with you and all of the idea rabbits in your yard, where could they do that?
Well, primarily at strategy and solidarity.org. I would love to see folks out at live events when I am in your city. It is announced on social media, which is it's commercial media. We all know what it is. Just, go and like my page, follow my page, or
It's
do
the
whatever it
mall.
is that you do.
It's the
It's the
virtual
mall. It's
mall.
about to be ripped down. We don't know what it is. It's terrible, but like that's where it is right now.
I barely see anyone I know when I go there anymore.
Listen to this,
What are your handles if people wanted to find you at the virtual mall?
yeah, okay. So if you go ahead and just,
How have you
if
had any career at all with your resistance to self-promotion?
if you look up my name at all in any of your searching machines, you'll see that I have a Facebook that has a whole bunch of followers on it, and it's just it's just look up my name.
Carlos Kareem
The
Windham.
handle.
It's a fairly unique name. It's not
Fairly unique name. You're not going to find a lot of people's. Just hey,
I've seen
just
Carlos
look up Kareem Windham. Yeah, you'll see people with half of the name. I've seen a Carlos Windham here and there, but like, don't
Carlos Kareem Windham. Fairly unique.
It's me. I look like this all the time. Like I'm easy to find. And on Instagram, it's El Caballo Negrito. And for the
do you want to tell us the story of why that became your handle?
Yeah, for the monolingual amongst you, that means the one who likes kombucha, and I just drink more of it than anybody else. And I have a YouTube. No, what? And I have a YouTube, learn Spanish, and I have a YouTube. That's just my name. That one's the easiest one.
Right, it does seem out of character at this point in time.
Yeah, it really does. And I can't, once it's your thing, like there's not a way to undo that on stupid Instagram. And so now I'm just stuck with that. But at least it's not Brother Los. So that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. And I would love building communities. So find us in strategy and solidarity.org. Find us in, of course, your podcast feed. I really have been enjoying providing Monday Moments. I think it is for me, And I've heard back
what is a
so
Monday
far a very
moment?
grounding tool. That's a little breath we take on Mondays for folks who are part of the community at the Strategy and Solidarity Collective. It happens live Monday mornings at about 9:15 Pacific. Might be a little bit earlier, a little bit later, depending on the day. And for listeners to this podcast, it is very often later on Monday or early on Tuesday. It is the same episode and also available at our YouTube. And it's just a moment to meditate and get grounded and get ready for the week. It is one of the many offerings that we provide. I highly listen, I went to Tune In Tuesday today with our dear friend Crystal Briscoe out in Portugal, in Lisbon, and it was great. And another reminder that there are folks who are offering spiritual widening. I don't know, and well, widening, yeah, and doing such that in a way that is not grifting. And I say that because there's nothing to buy or purchase or upsell. Just go. All you need to for that do is just meet us over at strategyandSolidarity.org. And then Wednesdays, Theresa, what are you doing on Wednesday? Tell us about that, would you please?
I'm doing a series called Change Requires Action, where we're focusing on skills and tools and analysis to support community organizing work, coalition building, really thinking through what are the actions it takes. Last week we talked about theories of change and how most of us have a theory of change of like organically the people rise up and take to the streets and topple the government or demand change and it happens. And there's sort of maybe a couple examples of that happening. It's been interesting watching Nepal and the cockroach junta party in India and some things that are happening. But there is a lot of organizing going on behind the scenes for those things to happen. And so clarifying that if we really are trying to create change, how do we do it effectively without just waiting for the masses to rise up? How do we this week, tomorrow, well, it'll already have happened by the time folks listen to this, but we can talk about interest-based organizing and how to identify what are your own interests and positions and those of other people and how to develop coalitions around a particular issue, even if you do not share 100% the same values and goals long term, how effective it can be to create even short-term coalitions around a particular interest.
Most excellent.
And then we have our Ask Us Anything this Friday. So you can come to strategyandSolidarity.org, find the calendar invite, and come join us in the Zoom room. Ask us questions about our lives, our careers, conflict. Sometimes there's
Your
only one or
life,
two
your
people there,
career.
so you basically get a free hour of consulting if you want it.
Yeah, ask us
Or
about the things
just
that
come chat.
impact you.
That's right.
And that's going to be happening on the 14th, to be clear. So this should be releasing on Thursday, the 13th of August. Look for us in that AMA on the 14th.
You can find our whole calendar at strategyandSolidarity.org. Hope to see you there.
All right. Hey, thank you for the conversation, and thank you very much for hosting today. Thank you very much to our dear friend Imani Will for use of Love of the Earth for the intro, outro, and interstitial music. Thank you so much to all of our collaborators at strategyandSolidarity.org. We do have some special treats that are going to be happening and coming up. I'll mention that maybe, the week of the 24th, I may be having a long form chat with our good friend and collaborator, Janicia Francis. about what it is like being an artist with recognition and very little money because we are both struggling. It's that kind of a world. It comes from a thought that was inspired by seeing the one of the producers of help me.
I think it was a Fela Kuti
Yep, Fela. Yep, Fela, the musical.
Fear No Man. Oh, it was of the musical.
Yes. One of the producers of the musical Fela, which is finally up and was Tony nominated and it was just doing so great. And my guy had like $6 in the bank. And that is not unfamiliar. And so we'll be talking about that, what the experience is, how we find buoyancy in that process, how we find grounding, and how we make it through. And I think that's what we're supposed to say and all the stuff. So, oh, shout out to everybody who is a member already of Strategy and Solidarity at strategyandSolidarity.org because you make this possible. Okay, that's it.
All right. Take good care of yourselves out there.